walk a quiet line where no footsteps ever echo back to me. A place where the night folds around my shoulders like a heavy coat stitched with the weight of my own decisions. The world keeps spinning with its noise, its demands, its restless crowds chasing after voices that are not their own. But I move in the opposite direction, steady, unshaken, untouched by the need to be seen. On this path with no witnesses, I breathe deeper, I hear clearer, and I remember who I am beneath the layers of expectation that once tried to bury me. There is no applause in the shadows I choose, no audience waiting to be impressed, just the pulse of my own truth beating against the cold air. Sometimes the silence feels like a test, stretching long, stretching thin, asking if I am strong enough to stand alone without bending toward approval. But in that silence I find something solid, something real, something the world cannot take away. I don't need a crowd to confirm my direction, I don't need permission to keep moving. Hey. The road is rough in places, smooth in others, a reflection of the storms I've survived and the calm moments that taught me patience. Every step reminds me that strength is not always loud and rebellion is not always violent. Sometimes it is simply the decision to keep walking when others expect you to stop. Sometimes it is choosing authenticity over comfort, truth over reputation, courage over conformity. I've learned that a man who walks alone walks toward himself, and though no eyes follow me, no voices call my name, I feel the presence of something deeper than company, the certainty that I am exactly where I'm meant to be. The path may be narrow, dimly lit and misunderstood, but it's mine, shaped by my choices, carved by my resilience. So I keep moving, hands steady, heart calm, step slow but sure. If there are no witnesses, then the journey becomes even more sacred, because every victory, every scar, every revelation belongs only to me. I am not lost, I am not waiting, I am simply becoming the man I was meant to be. Far from the noise, far from the predictable, on a path that only I can walk. A path with no witnesses, yet still fully alive. There's a moment every morning when the world hasn't fully awakened, when the air is still heavy with yesterday's weight. That's when I breathe in deeply, steady and slow, and remind myself who I am beneath everything I've been told to be. I stand in that quiet space and put on the only armor that ever truly mattered, my suit of freedom. Not fabric, not metal, but choice, clarity, truth. Freedom isn't loud, it doesn't scream for attention or shake walls with rebellion. It settles on the skin like a calm certainty, a reminder that I walk by my own compass, not by the demands of a world that never stops shouting. My suit of freedom is stitched from lessons learned alone, from nights spent figuring out what I will carry and what I will never accept again. There were times when I wore masks instead, masks to fit in, masks to avoid questions, masks to protect the fragility I didn't want to admit. But every mask took a piece of me, every compromise dimmed a light I didn't know how to defend. I reached a point where the weight of pretending felt heavier than the cost of being real. So I stripped it all away, layer by layer, until nothing remained but who I truly was. And that was a moment freedom began. My suit of freedom isn't perfect, it carries scars, dense marks from battles no one witnessed. But every flaw is a testament to the strength I discovered when I thought I had none left. Freedom isn't about being untouched, it's about refusing to stay broken. It's choosing to rebuild even when the world expects you to collapse. I walk differently now, calmer, more grounded, untouched by the chaos that used to pull me in every direction. People notice the steadiness, the presence, the quiet confidence. They mistake it for mystery, but it's simply self-respect. When you wear freedom, you no longer beg for acceptance. You no longer shrink to fit. You no longer apologize for existing as yourself. Every day I fasten this invisible armor, not to hide from the world, but to move through it with intention, with dignity, with a purpose, guided by my own truth. I wear my suit of freedom not to impress, but to remember. Remember who I am, remember who I refuse to stop becoming. Remember that no matter the storm, my freedom is mine to protect. There was a time when I let the world speak over me, when I softened my voice just to avoid the friction, when I let opinion settle on my shoulders like dust I didn't know how to brush off. But those days are gone, I learned that a man who knows himself doesn't need to shout, doesn't need to argue, doesn't need to prove. He simply stands, and in that stillness, the last word becomes his without ever being spoken. The last word is mine, because I choose it, not because I fight for it. Like life taught me that silence can be sharper than a raised voice, and calm can be stronger than confrontation. I stopped explaining myself to people who only listen to reply. I stopped seeking permission from those who never understood my path. I stopped offering pieces of myself to conversations that weren't built to hold them. In that refusal, I found something powerful, ownership of my own truth. Oh, 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 oh. The last word is mine, not because I overpower others, but because I no longer allow the noise around me to define what I believe. I walk through the world with a quiet conviction, anchored by choices made in solitude, sharpened by nights spent facing myself. My truth doesn't waver, my direction doesn't shake, and my voice, even when spoken softly, carries further than the loudest doubt. Yeah. People will hold us down. Oh. People will always talk, they will question, assume, misinterpret, rewrite stories they were never part of, but their words no longer shape my steps. I've learned to let them echo into nothing, fading before they reach a place within me that remains untouched. The more I trust myself, the less I need to correct the misunderstandings of others. Strength isn't found in winning arguments, it's found in refusing to surrender. Your inner compass is found in walking away with dignity when the world tries to pull you into battles that don't matter. It's found in choosing peace over pride, clarity over noise, truth over approval. I move forward now with a steady breath and an unshaken spine. I don't rush to defend myself, I don't chase validation. I don't break my silence just to fill a space someone else created. Because the last word isn't a sentence. It's a decision. And the last word is mine, because I choose to live by what cannot be taken from me. There are places within me that only silence knows, corners shaped by nights when the world felt distant, and the only voice I could hear was my own. Those were the moments that carved me, sharpened me, molded me into something steadier than I ever expected. I was not broken by being alone, I was forged in solitude, strengthened in the quiet where no one could see the work being done. People often fear being by themselves, as if loneliness could swallow them whole. But I learned that solitude is not emptiness, it is a furnace, it burns away the noise. The expectations, the mask I once wore to feel accepted in that heat. I discovered the parts of myself that cannot be shaken, the steel beneath the softness, the clarity beneath the doubt, yeah. There were nights when the silence felt too heavy, when it pressed against my chest like a weight I wasn't ready to carry. But every time I stayed, every time I faced the quiet without running, something inside me grew stronger. I began to understand my fears instead of fleeing them. I began to trust my own presence instead of searching for someone else's. Solitude became a teacher, not a punishment. The world moves fast, pulling people into crowds where they forget their own voices. But in the stillness I chose, I heard truths I had buried beneath years of noise. I learned what I truly value, what I cannot compromise, what I wanna build, even if it takes a lifetime. That kind of clarity doesn't come from applause, it comes from listening when everything else goes silent. Forged in solitude does not mean disconnected. It means knowing myself deeply enough to stand grounded when the world pushes. It means carrying an inner strength that doesn't depend on validation. It means walking into chaos with a calm that others can't quite understand. As if the storms outside feel smaller than the storms I've already walked through alone. People may see the steadiness now, the composure, the quiet confidence, but they will never see the nights that built it. They will never hear the conversations I had with my fears, the battles fought without an audience, the moments when I held myself together with nothing but breath and belief, and that's okay. My strength was born, I was forged in solitude, not hardened but refined, not isolated but awakened, stronger because I learned to stand with no one but myself. There's a quiet voice inside me that refuses to disappear, even when the world grows loud enough to shake the ground beneath my feet. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention, but it stays steady, persistent, unbroken. In moments when doubt curls around the edges of my mind, that voice rises like a steady tide, reminding me of the truth I once buried to keep others comfortable. It is the voice that won't fade, no matter how many storms try to drown it. I've walked through seasons where silence felt safer than honesty, where shrinking felt easier than standing tall. But even then that voice lingered, whispering beneath the noise, shaping my steps with a strength I hadn't yet learned to trust. It never begged to be heard, it simply existed with certainty, waiting for me to grow into it. And somewhere along the path I stopped running from it, I started listening. The world loves to tell a man who he should be, louder, quieter, stronger, softer, but the voice that won't fade doesn't follow those instructions. It isn't built from expectation or fear, it's built from the pieces of myself that survived every moment I thought I couldn't. It speaks in truths that don't tremble, in clarity that does lies and compromise, and courage that grows even in the dark. Some people mistake the quiet confidence for stubbornness, but it's something deeper, alignment. When your inner voice becomes louder than the world's opinions, you stop needing permission to exist as yourself. You stop bending for approval. You stop chasing places where you were only meant to pass through. The voice inside me doesn't promise ease, but it promises direction, and direction is worth more than applause. There are nights when the world feels heavy, pressing its weight against my chest, trying to slow my breath. Yet in those moments I hear it clearer than ever. The voice reminding me that strength isn't the absence of struggle, but the decision to move through it with intention. It tells me I've survived too much to silence myself now, so I carry that voice with me through the noise, through the doubt, through the shifting landscapes of who I am becoming. It does not fade because it is not fragile. It was forged in quiet battles, strengthened in solitude, refined by truth. I am guided by a voice that won't fade, not loud, not desperate, but undeniable. City sleeps while I remain awake, moving through its quiet veins, like a thought no one speaks aloud. I walk the empty streets with steady steps, each one echoing softly against buildings that have forgotten the voices they once held. There is a strange kind of peace in this silence, a space where I can finally hear my own pulse without the world rushing to drown it out. The night reveals truths, the daylight hides the empty streets, become mirrors, reflecting pieces of myself I miss in the noise. Under dim lights and long shadows, I remember who I am when no one is watching. Some might see loneliness in these hours, but I see clarity. The world moves so fast that most forget how to stand still. But here, with only the sound of my breath in the cold air, I am reminded that stillness has its own wisdom. These streets may be empty, but they are honest, asking nothing from me, offering nothing but space. And sometimes space is all a man needs to understand himself. I've learned that not all journeys require a destination. Some are meant to strip away the unnecessary, to quiet the mind until only truth remains. The walker of empty streets carries no mask. The darkness has no interest in illusions. Everything falls away with each step, leaving only what was real all along. There are moments when the silence feels heavy, pressing gently against my chest. But even that weight feels meaningful. It reminds me that I'm alive, that I feel that I'm still learning to stand firm in my own presence. I don't need company to find purpose. I find it in the rhythm of my stride, in the gentle hum of distant lights, in the freedom of walking without expectations. When dawn begins to stretch its first light across the pavement, I know the world will wake soon. Noise will return, faces will fill the spaces again, but the calm I gathered in the emptiness will remain with me. Steady, grounding, unshakable. Streets, not lost, not waiting, just becoming. In the quiet, the world forgets to see. Oh. I don't raise my voice to make a point, and I don't break things to show my strength. My rebellion isn't loud, it's deliberate, measured, almost silent. I am a resigned rebel, carved not by chaos, but by clarity, choosing my battles with a calm that unsettles those who expect noise. I don't need to fight the world to resist it. Sometimes the sharpest resistance is simply living by your own truth without apology. I've walked through rooms where the air felt heavy with expectation, where people spoke of freedom but followed every trend. Like a script, I listened, observed, and realized that real rebellion doesn't require an audience. It begins inside, in the small choices, in the decisions to stay honest when it's easier to imitate. So I stepped away from imitation, I chose intention. The refined rebel is never reckless. He is aware of what he stands for, aware of what he refuses, aware of what he will never surrender. Even if the world demands it, I carry my values not like weapons, but like anchors, keeping me steady when the crowd shifts with the wind. And though I move quietly, my presence shapes my path with precision, not impulse. There were days when I questioned this calm defiance, wondering if rebellion needed more thunder to be real. But I learned that storms don't define strength, stillness does. 'cause the ability to stay centered while everything pulls at you requires a courage few ever practice. I don't resist for attention, I resist to remain myself. Some see rebellion as destruction, I see it as refinement, stripping away the unnecessary, artificial, the expectations that suffocate identity. My rebellion is in my discipline, in my restraint, in the way I choose not to let anger rule my direction. I rebel by staying grounded, by choosing purpose over impulse, by holding myself to a standard that applause can influence. The refined rebel walks with intention, speaks with weight, thinks with precision. He does not need to announce his difference. The difference is felt in the authenticity he carries. I don't blend in, but I also don't push away. I simply walk my line, calm, steady, unshaken. If rebellion is fire, mine burns slow, controlled, unstoppable, a flame that refuses to be shaded by the wind. I am a refined rebel, not fighting the world, but refusing to let it shape who I am. There's a place between presence and absence where I've learned to live, a quiet corridor where I am seen by few but defined by none. I move there like a shadow, subtle and understated, almost invisible, yet carrying a glow that no darkness can claim. I've never needed to stand in the spotlight to feel real. My strength breathes in the edges, in the spaces where noise falls away. I am the shining shadow, unnoticed by many, unforgettable to myself. I learned early that not everyone needs to understand you for you to be true. Some days I slip through rooms like a whisper, calm and steady, choosing not to compete with voices that rush to be heard. Other days I felt the pull to step forward, to prove something, to be acknowledged. But every time I stepped into that chase, I felt my light dim. Not because I wasn't enough, but because I was trying to fit into a brightness that wasn't mine. So I returned to the quiet, not hiding, refining, not withdrawing, awakening. The shadow's not a place of weakness, it is where clarity grows without interruption, where purpose forms without pressure. And in that stillness, my glow sharpened into something steady, something real, something entirely my own. People often mistake silence for absence and subtlety for insignificance. They see me moving softly and assume I am fading, but what they don't understand is that the brightest flames rarely make the loudest noise. My strength is not in display, but in endurance. My glow is not for admiration, but for direction, my direction. The shining shadow walks beside storms without being swept away. It witnesses chaos but refuses to become part of it. It carries light without needing to prove that it shines. And though the world may overlook the quiet ones. It is the quiet ones who often change their world from the inside out. I am not here to be the center, I am here to be the constant. Unshaken, unforced, unchanged by the demand for attention. So I stay in my lane of quiet brilliance, where the world softens just enough for me to hear my own truth. I shine from where I stand, even if no one turns to look. For even in shadow, light is still light, and mine will always remain. I walk through crowds and move like tides, faces merging into one another, voices laid until they lose their meaning. But even in the thick of that noise, I remain untouched by it. I move with a calm that doesn't match the rhythm around me, a presence that stands apart without needing to shout. I never blend in, not because I'm trying to be different, but because I refuse to erase myself to fit a shape that was never mine. There were moments in my past when I tried to shrink, to soften, to carry myself in ways that made others comfortable. But every time I bent, something inside me cracked. I realized the cost of conformity is the slow disappearance of your own reflection. So I stopped bending, I stopped shrinking. I let myself grow into the space I was meant to occupy, even if that space was far from where the crowd gathered. Now I move with intention, with quiet conviction, carrying the understanding that individuality is not rebellion. It is truth, and truth has its own gravity. People feel it even when they don't understand it. They sense it in my silence, in the steadiness of my steps, in the way my eyes don't search for validation. I don't need to be admired, I need to be authentic. Some look at me and see distance, others see defiance. But what I carry is clarity. I know what matters to me, I know what I will not trade. I know the power of walking alone when the path demands it. There is freedom in not blending and choosing the edges over the center, and letting the world think what it wants while I stay rooted in who I truly am. The world tries to smooth people into sameness, polishing every rough edge until nothing real remains. But I keep my edges, they tell my story. They remind me of the nights I had to hold myself together, of the mornings I rose without applause, of the choices that shaped my strength. Long before anyone noticed, I never blend in, because I was not made to disappear. I was made to stand quietly, firmly, intentionally, not above others, not against them, but apart in a way that honors my own truth. If the world cannot place me neatly into a box, then I take that as a sign I am living honestly, and honesty for me will always be enough. They don't hear the quiet weight I carry, the armor that isn't made of metal but of choices, discipline and a silence that protects more than it hides. I walk through the world as a steel gentleman, not hardened by anger but strengthened by intention. My strength isn't loud, it resonates in the calm way I hold myself, in the patience that settles in my voice, in the dignity that doesn't need to announce its presence. There was a time when I thought strength meant never bending, never feeling, never doubted. But steel is not rigid, it's forged, and every fire I've walked through shaped me without breaking me. I learned to stay composed when the world tried to rush me, to remain grounded when opinions tried to pull me in every direction. A gentleman is not defined by appearance, but by how he stands when no one is offering praise. In the shadows of early morning, when the air is cold and the mind is heavy, I remind myself that refinement begins within. The world pushes, demands, distracts, tries to draw me into noise that never ends. But I choose stillness, I choose clarity, I choose the kind of strength that doesn't crush but elevates. The steel within me is not a wall, it's a foundation. A steel gentleman speaks softly, but with purpose he acts without seeking applause. He holds his values like a compass in a storm. Some mistake the calm for weakness, unaware that it takes far more courage to stay controlled than to explode. They don't see the battles fall quietly behind the eyes. The storms come before they reach the surface. They see the result, not the resilience. Every scar I carry is polished into wisdom, every setback hammered into resolve. The world may test me, try to dent the surface, try to scrape away the parts that don't fit its expectations. Still I remain not untouched but unbroken, not cold but disciplined, not distant but deliberate. To be a steel gentleman is to live with intention, to walk with quiet confidence, to choose integrity when shortcuts glitter. My strength does not shout, it simply stands calm, steady, enduring. The greatest power a man can have is control over himself, and in that control the steel shines, not to be seen but to be lived. There is a language that lives in the spaces no one pays attention to. A quiet code written in silence, in shadows and choices that leave no mark except on the soul. I walk through the world following that code, the code of the unseen, the one that doesn't need applause or recognition to be real. It is the compass I carry inside me, invisible to others, but unmistakable to me, guiding every step with a truth that doesn't raise its voice. In a world obsessed with being noticed, there is a rare power in moving without needing to be acknowledged. I've learned that the strongest men are often the quietest ones, those who refuse to trade authenticity for acceptance. My rules aren't engraved in stone or shouted to the crowd. They're whispered through experience, carved into memory, sharpened by the nights when I had only my own thoughts to answer to. The unseen teaches a different kind of strength, one that doesn't need a spotlight to exist. It's found in the decisions made when no one is watching, in the integrity that holds even when the world offers the easier path. It's the discipline to stay true to myself in a time when everyone is drifting toward whatever earns them a moment of attention. I will not drift, I will not chase what fades. Some people fear the unseen because they cannot measure it, control it, or display it. But I find comfort in its mystery. It strips life down to what matters: character, intention, resilience. Ask me who I am when the noise fades, when the mask falls, when the only witness is the man staring back at me in the mirror. And though those moments can feel heavy, they hold the purity the world often forgets. I've walked through rooms where my presence was ignored, where my silence was mistaken for weakness, yet I stayed steady, knowing that value is not decided by visibility. The unseen is where depth lives, where purpose grows, where clarity sharpens. And while others chase the surface, I follow the current beneath it. My steps may not echo loudly, my voice may not rise above the crowd, but my code stands firm, quiet, unwavering, untouchable. by what cannot be seen, because that is where the truth never lies. The wind rises before the sun does, carrying the cold weight of everything the world expects from me. It pushes, it howls, it tries to bend my steps before the day even begins. But I've learned to move through resistance like a shadow that refuses to disappear. Every morning I face that invisible force, and every morning I choose to stand anyway. A man against the wind, steady, calm, unbroken. There's a certain beauty in feeling the pressure of the world and not collapsing under it. The wind tests my balance, shakes my certainty, tries to steal the warmth from my chest. Yet with every gust, something inside me anchors deeper, like roots gripping the earth even tighter. Strength is not the absence of challenge. Strength is the quiet decision to keep walking when the world tries to push you back. I know this path isn't meant to be easy. The wind has followed me through empty streets, through nights when doubts were louder than my heartbeat, through moments where giving up felt like the simpler choice. But simplicity has never built anything worth keeping. So I lean forward, slow but sure, feeling the weight of the wind but refusing to let it dictate my direction. Sometimes the world sees only the movement, not the effort. They see the steps but not the storms. They think the man who walks alone is untouched by struggle, unaware that solitude is often chosen, not forced. Yet there is a rare clarity found when you face the elements with no one to shield you. The wind becomes a teacher, stripping away the noise, leaving only what is real. In its roar, I hear reminders of who I am, not the version shaped by applause or expectation, but the version carved from persistence. I walk not because the path is smooth, but because stopping would betray the truth. I've spent years uncovering every push against me becomes a reason to push back gently, steadily, with dignity. And though the wind never truly rests, neither do I. Its force sharpens my resolve, its chill strengthens my fire, its resistance shapes the man I continue to become. Against the wind. Not fighting the wind, but walking to remain myself in a world that tries to move me. There is a certain quiet grace in walking alone, a kind of elegance that doesn't need to be announced or dressed in noise. I move through dim corridors of thought where the world fades into a distant hum, and all that remains is the steady rhythm of my own breath, guiding me forward in the solitude I choose. There is no rush, no competition, no eyes waiting to judge the angles of my existence. There is only presence, so calm, unwavering. The elegance of the solitary is not the shine of someone trying to be seen, but the glow of someone who will stop needing validation. I've learned to sit with myself in silence, to listen to the unspoken truths that rise like smoke in a dark room. They used to frighten me, those truths raw and unfiltered. Now they feel like companions, familiar and honest, showing me that the strongest foundation I can build is the one within my own mind. In the distance, the world continues its restless dance, chasing shadows, chasing approval, chasing anything that fills the emptiness for a moment. But here, in this quiet space, I don't chase, I simply become, and becoming is slower, gentler, deeper than anything the ground can offer. Some nights the solitude wraps around me like a cloak, woven from memory and resilience. Other nights it feels like a mirror, forcing me to face the man I truly am. Yet even then, there is elegance in the confrontation, the kind of dignity in acknowledging the parts of myself that still ache, still strive, still hope. Walking alone doesn't mean I am untouched by the world. It means I have chosen to understand myself before letting the world define me. There is beauty in a life lived deliberately, in footsteps placed with intention, in thoughts carried with care. The solitary man is not isolated, he is refined. He knows the weight of his words, the value of his boundaries, the quiet power of being at peace with his own company. So I continue my journey with steady hands and a calm spirit, knowing that solitude is not a punishment, but a sanctuary. The elegance of the solitary is not about shining brighter, it is about shining truthfully, even in the dark, especially in the dark. And in that darkness, I stand fully myself. world speaks in endless echoes, voices laid on top of each other until none of them make sense. Each one pulling, demanding, insisting it knows what I should be. But somewhere between all that sound, I found a place where my own breath is louder than the shouts around me. I stand there, steady and unshaken, moving quietly against the noise of the world. There was a time when I tried to match the volume around me, raising my voice just to be heard, bending myself into shapes that fit whatever rhythm was trending. But every echo I chased left me more distant from my own truth. Noise has a way of convincing you that silence is weakness, but I've learned that silence is strength when it's chosen, not forced. So I chose it, I stepped away from the chaos, not out of fear but out of clarity. The world may scream its expectations, but I walk with a calm that refuses to be rewritten. My thoughts belong to me now, not to the whirlwind of distractions that once pulled at my focus. I become a quiet force, unassuming, deliberate, grounded in who I am becoming. Against the noise of the world, I learned to listen differently, not to the outside, but to the inside. Beneath the layers of confusion, I found a voice that waited patiently for years, a voice that didn't tremble or compete. It simply existed with certainty. It guided me through moments when I tried to rise, and through days when the pressure felt too heavy to hold. Some people measure strength by how loudly they can speak, how boldly they can argue, how much space they can take. But I've come to see strength in a different form, in restraint and clarity, in the ability to remain myself when everything tries to reshape me. Going against the noise is not rebellion, it's preservation. I move through life now with intention. I don't rush, I don't chase, I don't bow to the urgency of voices that never knew my path. The world can keep its volume, I keep my direction, and in the quiet moments I feel a steadiness that no crowd could offer. I am not lost in the noise, I am simply choosing not to drown in it.